I'm Daylen from myphysiqueprogram.com, and we're going to dive into some background, see what he's up to, and yeah, just go right into it. So the first question, people want to know, what started, or what changed for you when you went from DXD to Coach Daylen on Instagram?
Yeah. So basically starting off in the fitness industry and, creating, that label as a influencer, and just posting content and stuff. DXD was Daylen Xavier Dunson. That's my full name. And no one really knew that. But it's something that I put breed at the very end just to be like a different breed. But I created that back when I was like in college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at this point, you're really just thinking like, cool, let's just create a page. Let's just put a different username out there that most people don't have. I was like, cool. After a while, it was just like, DXD, everyone called me that. And I was like, I have a name and not a lot of people know my name. You know what I mean? So therefore, like the people who would take out like and put my name, it was like, oh, like it's a shock. You know what I mean? But really over this past year, and my coaching business, it is such a privilege and an opportunity to be called a coach. You know, in my words, it's bigger than just personal training. It is also like life development a little bit too. And it's like if I can help people become the better version of themselves and influence them and actually speak, tongues of good words to them to uplift them and encourage them to be the best version of themselves, then that's Coach Daylen. You know,
Yeah.
so therefore I was like, you know, I feel like talking about God again, but when I get to the gates of heaven, he's gonna call me by my name. I don't want if people want to know me, they should know Daylen. So I feel like Coach Daylen
Yeah.
was perfect transition from DXD, and obviously I'm the only one with that name as well. So yeah, it's a privilege.
Is there going to be like some kind of shift in content for you? Because I remember DXD Breed back in the day. I remember you used to go to this CrossFit gym and post like the most motivational content that I've ever seen.
I love that. Dude, you're bringing back years. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So DXD was the guy that would get anything done by any means necessary. You know? Um,
Yeah.
Due to me doing this coaching thing for so long, um, I would definitely say people with anxiety disorders are just walking humans, who potentially like I feel like an anxiety disorder is humans walking around just, I don't know how to say it in words like this, but basically the way that I was living at this time was the fact that it's not the best way to live, doing anything by any means necessary. It's like I'm a human. I have emotions and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
And
and
I
you were
was doing,
going at 100%.
yeah, I was doing that Goggins stuff, dude. You know what I mean? And it taught me something, but then I had to take a step back and be like understanding more of myself and just like who I was. And therefore it was like, yes, this image portrayed, someone who can just get things done. It didn't matter if I was bodybuilding, it didn't matter if I was doing CrossFit. I just wanted motivation, right? But then that's telling motivation. Therefore, the man that I am today, the coach that I am, it's showing motivation, you know, continuously doing the things that no one wants to do, but actually documenting it, you know, and that's something that me and my clients do a very good job in too. So yeah, that's really the biggest thing that changed.
Yeah, I mean, the content you used to put up, while it was super motivational, looking back at it now, do you think it brought you success? Were you doing coaching at the time back in the day when you were doing those content? What were you
No,
doing that content for at the
so
time?
I was just doing the content because I was just recording with a buddy of mine. You know what I mean? It was a very nice gym and stuff. And really it was to actually get pictures and stuff like that in order to promote my coaching when I was starting. But then at the very end, what type of person, off the street is going to do CrossFit workouts like you're doing? They're not everyone's into CrossFit, you know? So then I was like putting out the wrong image a little bit and I had to rebrand, So therefore not everyone's going to wear, a vest, a weighted vest. Not everyone's going to be doing, ski rows and stuff like that. Some people just want to look good. And it was like, I felt like I was just doing too much,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say you were doing too much. I would say you probably were just catering to a different audience at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you were looking to be a motivational speaker or some kind of person in that avenue, I feel like you were really targeting that, and
Mm-hmm.
you're doing really well with that.
Thank you.
Even I remember those videos were very creative. Were you doing all those videos yourself
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Yeah.
and editing all your own stuff?
Yes, so, just like when you were starting off, it was like it was best to be a little bit of hybrid, know how to master the elements of capturing a photo and also video. And the lens is like a different set of eyes a little bit, but therefore it's a lot behind just capturing and really editing, you know? So that's how I formed my editing style to what it is today. But therefore I was really into it, doing videos for other companies and stuff like that before I even started being coaching or starting my coaching business. But yeah, like it taught me a lot and I had to put in that work and at least apply that skill to what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So
Tell the people what kind of camera you started on. What were you? What were the thought processes before you even like eventually, or did you start on your iPhone before you started using a camera or anything, or did you go right into the camera work?
no,
Or did you start on?
can I be real?
Yeah, go ahead. We can
So
say no. If you
okay.
needed it.
So I worked with the company Unrefined, the meal prep company, and they were great people. You know what I mean? When I was first starting off, like, I was really starting off with a Sony A7 III and a 50 millimeter, or no, the default lens actually. And I
16 to 50.
Right, yes, and the quality just wasn't that good, but I was just trying my best, you know what I mean? Therefore, they took a chance on me, saw the videos I was creating, let's turn it into a business. They applied me with the Sony A7 IV and also the 24 to 70 G Master, but I was really doing like, business work, so I had to have the top quality, and obviously that business venture did not work. They did teach me a lot though on how to run a business, but therefore I realized that I don't think this is something I want to do in the long run, so definitely when that business passed up, I invested in my own equipment, and I got the same setup. And I
Keep
just
going.
knew that, yeah, I just knew that if I could apply that, tools, the one I had, a lot more people watching my content would take me more seriously, because I was putting out informational, educational videos. So it was very useful.
Yeah. Well, looking at your camera setup before, you had the Sony A7 IV. What are you shooting on now?
So I downgraded actually. So I wouldn't say technically downgraded. The quality is still amazing, but I have a Sony ZV-E10 and a 24 millimeters base lens. The reason why is because it's like a vlogging camera. So the more that I continue to do this, I don't want to walk around with 8 to 12 pounds just for a lens. You know what I mean? I want to take out something and point it right where it's like I can go on the airplane and I won't have to go like this. Something I can just go like this.
Yeah.
So.
So now for you to create some content, you're just pulling up to the gym with a tripod, a Sony ZV-E10,
Mm-hmm.
and a 24, what is it, 1.8, 1.4?
1.4.
1.4 prime lens. That's sweet. So the whole actual setup may not be a downgrade, but it's definitely a lot smaller, maybe more compact now.
Yes, more compact, still useful, still top quality. You know what I mean? So it's not like iPhones are still good. I advise any beginner to start an iPhone. And if they want to blow up, start an iPhone because it's just consumer friendly, you know?
Well, even we just talked before we had started this video, even we talked about getting the proper equipment for proper
Mhm.
shoots, right?
You're right.
I had told myself that I'm not investing into this podcast anything other than what I already have, whether it's podcast mics, extra lighting,
Yeah.
whatever it is, even just the chairs that we sit on. I'm not doing
Yeah.
until I do a certain amount, and then and that doesn't mean monetarily. That
Yeah.
means, can I get 10 podcasts out, or can I get 20, or
Yeah.
can I go a year without convincing myself I need to put a bunch of money into this thing?
Right.
They have everything that I need.
I feel like at the same time, that's a little bit of like comparison a little bit because you're looking at the podcast at the top of the top.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, we obviously want to get there, but it was like, dude, you have one of the best setups in a podcast room I've been with. You know what I mean? Like top two, but probably not two. Let's be completely honest. And it was like, that's why I was just like, you can start, but that's the whole purpose of personality. You know what I mean? It was like, you don't have to have the best of the best. You
100%.
can put out the best message. And, obviously with the best group of people, targeting the right people, you can get a lot farther than the bigger ones.
Agreed.
But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, comparing myself to all the best podcasts, the ones that I watch are like Chris Williamson. I don't know
number one,
him.
easily.
Obviously, Cremozi's doesn't necessarily have a podcast. He's more just educational, but his content quality is just amazing.
Hmm.
Honestly, if I was able to start a podcast with 3 iPhones, I would.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just because I think that with the proper lighting, iPhones are great.
Right.
And people always ask me, what kind of camera should I start on? And
Hmm.
I direct them like, hey, if you're not going to start with your iPhone, you're not going to do this with your camera because
So yeah,
go buy that equipment.
exactly.
They go ghost after a few weeks, you know, and they're like, oh, it didn't really work out for me.
I mean, when I was doing like the My Physique interviews on my clients and stuff like that, I would be recording off the 24 to 70 G Master lens too. Like I think it was an A7. I think Tyler uses an A7. It's the movie version one.
FX3.
Yeah, he uses the FX3, and it would just be in a corner room or in a spaced room with actual mics like these.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like,
They worked.
exactly, yeah, and it was just like that's to me that's real. You know what I mean? But obviously, the higher you go, the better you can get at your own craft. You know what I mean? But starting off, this is more than enough.
Shifting over to your bodybuilding world, you're prepping for a show right now, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So obviously, I've won quite a bit of overalls in the past now.
Many.
6.
6
So,
overalls.
yeah, 6-time NPC Overall Champion. I've won my overalls in classic physique and men's physique. The overalls I'm counting too is novice, true novice as well. But therefore, I think I believe I have a total of 2 overalls in the classic physique division, and then I got my first men's physique overall. So therefore the novice and stuff like that. There are other 3. But therefore prepping and stuff like that is not easy, but it's somewhere to remind me to be disciplined because I have this goal for myself where I have set out that I am going to win 10 overalls before I turn pro. Why is that? Because no one has done it. You know what I mean? I want to show people that you can like consistently put yourself through the motions and be so consistent where that pro card at that point is going to be an even better reward, knowing that you put in the work prior to getting it, you know? And that's the thing that's winning in my definition. And obviously, Tim S. Grover talks about a cleaner versus a closer, and a cleaner is going to get anything done by any means. You know what I mean? Kobe, LeBron, Shaq, they don't think, they just do. So if I could enter every season like that and program my mind to just do the Stairmaster, 45 minutes to an hour every morning, fasted, show up to the next training session, meal plan. I don't have to think about it. I just do. At that point, by the time, this is probably going to be my last season bodybuilding, but prior to that pro card, I'll be in a lot better mental space than trying to play catch up. It's about the habits and routines that you don't want to do.
This next show that you're doing, is it a pro card qualifier or whatever?
So I already qualified for nationals. So I did at the Michigan Central States last year, and that qualified because it was an untested show. And then this one, so that one qualified me for technically at the end of this year. I can do that, but I think I want to wait till the spring of 2026. That's why I said season, because it's like the element of like a 1-year gap. But the next show that I have is Summer Shredding in Houston, Texas. So you got the last show, and then you have the championship, which is the next day. They get the top 5 people from each class and all the overall winners into one show. So you're going up against the best of the best that have won in the past. And obviously, it's like there's some prize money and stuff on there too, some good rewards and stuff. But in my opinion, I was like, that would be really dope to just know that I'm competing with the best of the best, even if it's not even at a national stage.
So yeah, Summer Shredding is a very unique show. I've been there. I forgot, maybe at least one time I remember for sure.
Yeah.
It was funny because that one time that I'm remembering right now, I was with Matt Saxon. I don't know if you.
Yeah. He was cold. Yeah.
The whole show.
Yeah.
I think he was battling top 2 with another big name, Joe Shulk.
Joey Schultz?
Shulk.
Shulk?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Okay.
The really tall guy. He says he's like 7 feet tall. And
Yeah, no, okay, we're talking about the same guy.
Same guy.
He was battling against him?
He was
That's
battling his
insane.
top 2, and Matt Saxon eventually took it home. And
Wow.
it was the biggest power move I've ever seen, because he had some complications leading up to the show, which I feel like at this point almost everybody has complications or runs into something.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had won the show, and then when he'd won the money or whatever it was that you win, you also get an athlete sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, actually, I'm good. I don't care to be an athlete, which I thought was a crazy power move. Just because I feel like anyone with that opportunity would take that opportunity to be that athlete, because I feel like it's a huge company to work with.
Okay.
But I thought that was very unique of Matt being like, you know what,
Yeah.
good, I'm just doing my own thing. I mean,
Hey,
he's a coach himself and all.
he is definitely a role model that I look up to. I kid you not. So it's just like sometimes it's not even about the brand deals,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, going back to the show, you had mentioned it was your last time competing. What
Yeah.
go into that a little bit?
So with this being my last time competing, I mentioned as you guys have been seeing like, on my content and stuff like that, my mom at 54 years old is competing in her first bodybuilding show at the Lieberman in October. Now, from someone that was in her basement, my mom's basement for 4 years. I just got a house recently. Um, Obviously she watched me, you know what I mean, for years, consistently putting in the work. And even last year when I did 3 shows technically, and it was just like, for her to be inspired at 54 years old to actually do what I do. Like at first it was just to get her back in shape, get her in the gym again. She was struggling with anxiety and stuff like that. She works from home. She just wasn't getting out, you know? So she was battling like, that depression mindset a little bit, anxiety. And it was just, not good for her. So when we started working out together like that, her and my dad met back in the day in the gym. So this was like her first love, you know, to get her dreams, or to basically inspire her to chase her dreams and to basically live again. You know what I mean? It's like giving her life a little bit and actually seeing her not only do a show, but by blood dominate a show. She will dominate that show. I kid you not. It's inspiring to me to know that as a son and even as a coach, I've done my job as a bodybuilder, and I could continue to do this sport, but I feel like getting to that pro card is like chasing the wind. It's not guaranteed. A lot of people dedicate their entire lives to this one pro card. You got to pay for the pro card, right? To be in the league. Like
What's that membership look like?
I don't know what the membership looks like, but I just know that when you get to that card, everything is even more. You know what I mean? Am I trying to be an Olympia or am I trying to be a bodybuilder? There's a clear difference. Anyone could be a bodybuilder. You can look like that all you want, but that's just the stigma. Olympia is the top 1%, like 0.5. There are only so many. At that point, I realized that it's also not healthy. I don't want to get to that point. I don't want to keep feeding my flesh to know that there is no good and there's no granted recovery, because you see many of the legends, having complications with their health and stuff like that. I'm 25. I don't want that on me. The way I train, I'm very like safe, optimal. I don't like injuries at all. And I just know that I also want to have kids one day. If I'm consistently running testosterone, for instance, it's like, that's no good for me. That's no good for the woman I'm going to meet either, you know?
Yeah.
So knowing that the goal is, yes, it's like, I want a family and stuff, but I'm more content just being the coach, because I remember this guy was like, you seem like, he was like, I'm getting this, like, thinking that you're always like Mr. Nice Guy. Nice guys always finish last. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'm nice enough to let everyone in before I do. You know what I mean? I don't have to go first all the time. Maybe I could let the people who want to go in, show them the right ways to do everything and be the last one out. And I'm perfectly fine with that. So that's why I think that this is my last season, is because, you know, when my mom does dominate the show, I feel like this being a mother-son relationship after everything that we've been through has to be one of the most rewarding things, because it was like a time where it's like I didn't even want to be here, but then it was just like a time to actually witness this is the reason why I'm here. You know, that's why I think that this is going to be my last season. So honoring the standard, and it's family more than self,
Yeah.
so.
And then I'm just asking outside of the pod because I might not understand it, because you mentioned you were going to do summer shredding after stuff like that. And are you still planning on doing that, or are you actually done with competing, or what do you mean by your last show?
Yeah, so summer shredding is 6 weeks away.
That's
And that,
before your last show.
right.
Okay. I
Yeah.
was like, are you doing a show after your
Yeah.
show? And not saying you're not doing a show anymore.
Yeah, that's why I called it like, that's why I said like my last season, because who knows, I may compete in April, March, or somewhere around there to get the pro card. But I do want the 10 overalls, and I only need 2 shows. Who knows?
And what do you compete in? You compete in classic and physique?
Yes, men's physique. Yep.
And what do you think you lean more towards if you were to only choose one?
This is a great topic. I have classic proportions, you know. But man, I hate training legs. Oh my gosh. Legs hurt when you're functioning on very to low calories. I'll tell you that. It does not get any easier. So the way that I'm approaching is that I would rather go pro in men's physique. And that's just because it's like, no, they just don't judge legs as much. I still train legs, don't get me wrong. But those classic guys and their legs are getting bigger and bigger every year. And I'm like, even if my diet's on point all the time, and I'm like, how are you guys able to get that striated? Like seeing, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, so I just know my strengths and I know my weaknesses.
I mean, what did you say that like at a certain point, it's like you can do all the tricks and stuff that you could do, but at the end of the day, a lot of genetics play a huge factor into it.
Huge. Like, yeah, my mom and dad don't really have the best legs, so yeah.
You were blessed with those
Yes,
genetics.
apparently. Yes, like my genetics are straight, my parents, and that's what I mean. Bodybuilding isn't for everyone, you know? So that's why I would just rather just, be that coach to just know, like, the decisions I made, the meals that I eat, it's more than just being a bodybuilder. I just want to be healthy, so.
Going back to your coaching, I noticed on your social media recently you've been working with some celebrities going on there. Do
Yeah.
you want to dive into that?
Yeah.
How do you get in there?
So they reached out to me. I don't reach out to celebrities mainly because they have to follow you before you can even send a message. So even if I did, that message would not go through. I will admit this. I've reached out to Kevin Hart before, Kai Nat, you know what I mean? I feel like those will be some pretty dominant guys in order for me to, play a role with them and stuff.
100%. You got to shoot your shot.
You got to shoot your shot. But I've done that in the past, but like I've been blessed to be on the phone with Deion Sanders before. This was last year. And obviously just like being on the phone with them, talking about my coaching business and stuff like that, it was awesome. But I didn't ask him to pay. He didn't take it seriously, so he never did it. I don't have those results, but I do have his phone number. And next part is Kane Brown. We just finished this 90-day transformation. Absolutely insane, you know? Kane Brown is one of the he's a very great guy. I kid you not. I can call him right now. He'll answer. And he's very personal, and like him
He
reaching
doesn't
out
have
to me.
that untouchable feeling to him, even though
Yeah, yeah. And the funniest part, I don't listen to country music.
yeah.
So when he jammed me,
On that?
wait, I didn't.
So, yeah, I just want to let you know
That's how
we're hurting.
When he reached out to me, though, I kid you not, I did not know who he was. And I was like, who's this guy with 3.6 million followers right now? I was like, interesting. The funniest story is that I was so busy throughout my day, I forgot. I didn't forget, but he called me because we had a call confirmed, and I was like trying to get furniture for my new house and running into a problem. I'm like, Kane, can I call you right back?
Yeah. You hit me with one of those today too, man.
I didn't realize it was Kane Brown though. So then I called him back because I was like, "Oh, this is Kane." He was like, I was like, "What do you do?" He was like, "I'm an artist."
No.
That was probably one of the
Just
funny,
like Google me.
yeah. And I was just like, I didn't really know who he was and stuff like that until I dug into it deeper. And I was like, wait, this song is like the girls in high school will listen to him. And I was like, oh, you know what I mean? And obviously I worked out with him in Columbus at Armory Gym, met him in person, put him through a workout. And like I said, he's a great guy. We were joking a lot too. We got some things planned for the future and we came out with the best results too. You know what I mean? He considered it an investment and he went with it. And he obviously got the results. And that's what I think is best about my coaching is it's really my service because I'm very personal. You have a lot of personal access to me. Phone number wise, phone call, check-ins, the way that I'm customizing the workouts and meal plans, it's all very personal. So therefore, with my results, just like the best words I receive from Big Mike Eli, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, you know? So when
Can you run
people,
through some of those results?
yes. So my parents, my dad is 54. My mom just turned 54. My dad did my 90-day program. He lost 36 pounds. My mom lost 27 pounds. Complete crazy transformation. Documented that as well. I documented all of these I'm talking about.
Oh, I didn't mean just in general results. I meant like the Kane Brown ones.
Oh,
Kane Brown results. What kind of results did you get him and stuff like that?
well, yeah, like he was basically. I think I was like he came to me and was just like at the very beginning of like February, he wasn't in the best shape possible at all. He wanted change. So he already had a really great transformation by the time he came to me. And this was in the month of April. He came to me in April and he was already looking okay. You know what I mean? I was like, what am I going to do? And he was like, make my physique better. And I'm like, this is a challenge to me. You know what I mean? And obviously, like, you already had the six pack and stuff like that too when you send me the pictures. You know what I mean? I'm already wowed by the transformation. And then at that point, I was like, okay, this is going to be a challenge because how you make someone with a six pack already get even bigger. You know what I mean? And that's what we did. So we approached it. He kept the six pack, obviously built his chest, his traps. I can even send you a picture of what he looks like right now. It's insane. Built his arms. I'm pretty sure he performed in the recent MLB performance. Taylor Lautner in the comments was like more like the gun show. You know what I mean? But he's someone who literally puts in the work. Obviously, when you have like, that flexibility, it's like you can't really afford to miss meals because he has them prepared and stuff. But he puts in the work like no other, whether it's running in the morning, going to the gym, staying on top of his diet regimen, and it's just like submitting his check-ins on time. Like he gives it to me a day early so his team could prep it and stuff. His team by wife, I mean.
Mhm.
Uh, but with that being said, it was just like this, the constant communication makes me do my work even better. I have to know what you're going through and I have to know the obstacles ahead that week in order for me to create that plan for you. It's more of a weekly plan, to be completely honest. So,
You mentioned Deion Sanders didn't end up getting any results because he didn't buy the program and he didn't, I guess, follow through with it. How important is it for that client to actually be willing to invest money into that program, to really believe in that program?
right. I would definitely say it's very important because, um, I don't have a mentor. No one taught me how to do this. No one taught me how to run a business either. And when an opportunity like that passed, he was, too old. He has like an Android phone and stuff like that too. He doesn't know how to work the app. You know what I mean? It's very easy. You know what I mean? He just didn't really take the time to do it. So at that point, I realized I was just like, next time I really got to say the price. I was afraid to because I would rather him have post Insta stories and stuff like that, just organic marketing to my page. That's what I wanted in return, but there was no contract. There was nothing signed. It was just a phone call that said he would do it, but obviously he didn't. It's very important from a business standpoint to charge your clients because it was like you already see the results, the work, and it was like I forgot how they said this, but why would you not pay for something and still expect the same results? You know what I mean? You see it works.
You got to have some skin in the game.
You do. And therefore I was like, the same thing with Kane Brown happened as well, where it was like we can do the organic marketing, you know what I mean? I should have, and that taught me a couple things too. It's like I need to create a package for this. There's only lessons, there's no failures, there's solutions to everything. That's what I'm gonna do forward for the possible next person with a big influence comes to me, is that there will be an agreement to posting deliverables and stuff instead of actually paying for it. But obviously, when you pay for it, you put your money where your mouth is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Therefore, you don't want your money to go to waste. So he's gonna put in the work, and that's exactly what he did. And I would say that for anyone, if you want them to take you seriously, um, you know, they need to take you seriously. You have to take yourself seriously. I can't just walk around. I would love to help everyone. You know what I mean? But then it was like, what's gonna pay my bills? I'm self-employed. This is only what I do. And it was like, I have bills to pay, I have car insurance, house insurance and stuff like that too. And it was just like, that's what you mean, like skin in the game. You know what I mean? You can't always be the nice guy as much as you want to help everyone, but it doesn't help you in the end because you're just doing yourself a little harm. So,
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Going into the deliverables, I like that. I want to transition a little bit into some sponsorships.
hmm.
A lot of people that are watching have never will be approached by these large companies about sponsorships, and
Yeah.
they don't understand how that kind of world works.
hmm
When a company like Young LA, Gymshark, Alphalete, all these bigger brands reach out to you, how does that negotiation work with them?
So I've been with Gymshark, I've been with Young LA, I've been with Alpha Line, I've been with New Sharks, approached by EHP, but never signed with them. You know what I mean? The whole purpose of me creating that fitness page was to become a Gymshark athlete. And then they reached out and then they took it away. the deliverables aspect is really you just posting content and the clothes and stuff like that, making sure that you hit the sales, every month. Young Galea is like required for like a certain amount of sales, but they really look for mega stars. You know what I mean? I'm not that, known on YouTube. TikTok, I really don't post because it's a consumer platform to me. I'm doom scrolling. Instagram is kind of my vlog along with Facebook. That's where people get to know the real me. I would rather people know me for that. But Gymshark was so cool. I cried when I finally like got, yeah, like these are real tears of joy. And I'll never forget that feeling because that's where I realized, like, even after they took it away, it really hurt, you know,
It's like a breakup for you.
man, and the fitness in this, like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And, when they took that away and I wasn't with them anymore, it hurt, but I have to sit in mindfulness to just know that I have a page that these type of companies are viewing. And it's like, it just taught me that, everything was worth it to be where I'm at today and just, post the content that's inspiring to even these type of companies. It let me know that I had a, I guess it let me know that I was good enough. I was good enough even if I don't have it, you know? And I feel like Matt Saxon was that way when he didn't want to sign with Alpha Weight. You're good enough to do that, but it comes with deliverables. It comes with you going out of your way and making your own content. They don't necessarily pay you. You just work on their clothes. But I can work on the stuff from Goodwill.
How does that work with, let's say, a Gymshark? What do they approach you? What kind of are they pay? Oh, you said they don't pay you, but there has to be some kind of money coming to you, or is there like a gift card they're offering? How
Yeah,
does it
like,
work?
well, the gift card is for you to get their clothes.
Okay,
It's only used in the store.
so you don't get paid at all from any of these guys.
No, you just get commission.
Okay,
That's it. You have to get to that type of megastar, multiple platforms to get introduced to salary, but most of them are going to put you on a trial period. You have to outperform in the 3 months that you sign with them, which is very hard because your audience is just getting used to you being with that company. You know what I mean? So not a lot of people are going to use your code right away, knowing that, even my boy Andre, Gains by Dre, he has a bigger following, you know what I mean? And he was with the companies first. A lot more like knowing that we're local and we're really good friends. It was like some people may follow me and him or him and I. They may use this code first. That's no competition. You know what I mean? That's just like two guys in the same city doing what we love to do, but you can't control that. So it's hard being in that trial period and actually getting to those numbers to the point where you can request for the salary. So
so let's say they approach some kind of megastar. Then what kind of salaries do those guys kind of expect? Do you know what kind of numbers they're doing? I
man.
mean, like commission sales. I mean, like, let's say you just got 1 million followers from going super viral and you've been doing this for a little while. I'm not talking Sam Sulik, I know he just signed with Gymshark, whatever, but let's say you're doing well for yourself or your social media. What are they reaching out to you? Like, how much money do they initially offer to like those magazines?
Yeah. Well, clothing companies are probably different from supplement companies. Because I remember like Alpha Line was paying me like a good 600 every month, and then Nutrex ended up paying me like 1,300 to 1,600 every month. So those are like supplement companies though. Clothing companies, probably a lot more. I'm not really sure. Um, and that's the thing. I was like, I've heard, you know what I mean? I would say like one guy, I don't know how much like the company, I'm not gonna say the company, I'm not gonna say the person.
Let it
But
be.
no, you can be making anywhere from about 2,500 to 5,000 a month.
So that's like a real life salary.
And not even with 1 million followers.
Wow.
Yeah. Like way less than that. It's insane. But that's just because like your loyal following. But it's best because it was like, yes, you will get that salary, but then the commissions is where the game takes over because then you're getting this extra money. You know what I mean? Sometimes they just want your face, which is amazing. That's a company that really resembles with you. Um, but therefore, the best part too is just like, you have your audience, your loyal audience, or I should say your loyal following, like your actual followers. There's fans and there's followers. You actually have your followers who really support you, and that's really cool.
Well, I just think because a lot of people don't realize how much money there is in social media. So if somebody who doesn't even have 1 million followers could pull in from 2,500 to 5K a month, that's like I mean,
That's just from one brand deal
that's
too.
one brand deal.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have, your commission code, then you have your supplement brand, then you have a million other things that could be sponsoring you by. I mean, it could be some random like I don't even know where I'm going with this, but it could
Yeah.
be some other kind of brand sponsoring you some money, and
Mm-hmm.
real quickly you can start stack that up from 3 to 5K to up to 10K up to 20K, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like without you doing any actual work other than living your day-to-day life and putting them in a video.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's work. You know, you got to believe in yourself. Believing in yourself is a full-time job. You know what I mean? And even without the followers, it's like you have to build that crazy mindset, crazy faith a little bit to go out of your way and get to that level. You know what I mean? So obviously the work's put in. You're kind of just, being rewarded with fruition when it
Yeah.
comes to that too.
Well, I mean, not only is there a ton of money in some, I guess, some brand deals or stuff like that, but there's a whole lot of money that I've found out when I lived in Houston in
Hmm.
coaching. Do you mind sharing how much someone could expect if they went into full-time coaching? What can they do, or where are they at?
It depends on the people you talk to. It can literally take you 2 years, or it can take you 4. It's really about the people you talk to, and that's the thing. There's a lot of 18-year-olds who are making, oh my God, an oblivious amount and never stepped on a stage before. To me, that's a little gut reckoning, a little bit of an insult. You know what I mean? But that's just because they mastered the storytelling, you know? But I feel like at the same time, with the results and stuff like that, when you talk to the real people, then you get the real results. It seems more purposeful. But no, like there's Miami prices. I remember a kid was for his coaching for 3 months was charging $3,000 for one client. People were saying, yeah, I don't know his backstory. I don't know him like that. You know what I mean? I have no place to judge, but I just know that there's a lot of money in this industry where you can easily be making over 10K a month, easily. And if you are a good coach, you will be making anywhere between 20 to 30. And there are great coaches who make above that every month, like 60. I remember one of my very good friends was making 60K a month from
That's
coaching.
crazy.
Yeah.
Since I had a friend down in Houston, and regular guy, you wouldn't think much of it, and he was big in the YouTube scene. I mean, he wasn't even that big. I mean, he had 100K. I guess that's pretty big
Yes.
in YouTube. In YouTube, but
That is very
it's.
subscribers.
But I'm talking like back in the day, back when like everybody had like a million. You know what I'm saying? It was
Oh,
like right now
okay.
it's kind of harder to grow on YouTube.
Yeah, very, very.
But
Okay.
back in the day, there was people with half a million, 2 million. And this guy was just his measly 90K. I'm not saying it's little, but it's a small amount compared to what I
Yeah,
was thinking.
yeah.
And I just didn't expect him to give me the numbers that he was running with. And he had told me he was running. I forgot what it was, the exact amount, but don't quote me on this. It was
Hmm.
around 60 clients each month, paying him around $300 to $400, whatever.
Yeah,
And that adds up. I
it
mean,
does. It does. Like
I'm gonna do the math real quick.
no, yeah. My number one advice is that you don't have a real business until you have recurring revenue.
Yeah,
So
let's say 350. Yeah, it's 20K a month just doing like,
yeah,
a little bit of YouTube, and obviously you're helping people, but 20K a month is nothing to be, not to be frowned at. That's $250,000 a year. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
So it's crazy to think what you can do as a coach.
Yeah, I remember when I was first starting off coaching and stuff like that. I was like a server, and I gave up that job, served to go full time into content creation. I had no idea I was going to start a coaching business. Literally, I would think about 3 to 6 months. It was the best decision I've ever made. I didn't come out the gate charging that much. Yeah, no. But where I'm at today, I realized it was just like, I can't spend hours of my day at a restaurant only getting $100 tips a day.
Where were you at?
Dude, I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings.
B-dubs.
Um,
Place.
I worked
But
at this place called Tupelo, and of course it was great coworkers and stuff like that too. I just know that that's not where I wanted to be. I knew that I needed to do more. Obviously, if I wanted to get that apartment, if I wanted to get that house, if I wanted to get that car, I'm not making server money, you know?
100%.
So that's why I was just like, I had to go all in. And that's literally the best decision that you can make in your 20s is going all in on a business. And it's it's a blessing to, struggle in a choosing or suffer in a choosing of your own. You know what I mean? Because you're going to learn the answer, then it's only like it's consistency. No one knows the answer right away, but if you don't start now, then you're going to be in your 30s like, what was I doing in my 20s? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, I remember when you started your coaching business. This guy couldn't stop flying back to Hawaii, back and forth. Every time I, every time I call you, you'd be like, "No, I'm in Hawaii again." Then you'll be back in Ohio. Then he's back in Hawaii. I'm like, dude, he lit.
Stop. That is hilarious. Yeah. Hawaii is beautiful.
Yeah. So if I are
Hawaii
in
is
your life,
beautiful. Yeah.
was that when you were opening up your coaching business? Was that like the beginning of it, or were
No, that was like after a year. I've had the coaching business for I started in 2023, end of 2022, November 2022. I remember that. But wait, no. Yeah, yeah. It was like 2 years ago. Last year, I went to Hawaii. So it was the end of 2023. So yeah, like you get to travel a lot too, but then I was like at the same time, you know, um, yeah.
would you start charging when you just started coaching, like the original price?
There's I was really gunning myself. That's because it was like I had the sales script and stuff like that, but I had to build the confidence to say the number that I wanted to say. And that took some time. That took a couple months. Started off at 150 and then
Okay,
moved up to 200.
that's a good amount.
Yeah. And then
150 is nothing to be, shy about.
right. Moved up to 200 a month and then basically started asking for like a one-time purchase at 500 so I can get the money all up front. Or you can do $200 a month. You would just save $100 if you do a one-time payment. And then that just kept going up and up and up.
And that's a 3-month minimum
Yes.
sign up.
Yes, but it's a lot more than that now. So
Yeah.
yeah, my price for my 3 months, is basically like $12.49.
1249 compared to 600. So you more than doubled it.
Yeah.
Now, what caused that doubling? Do you think it's a mindset shift? Do you think it's purely value? What gave you the confidence to be able to double that?
My results, like, you have to get in the game first before you can be a good player. So when people took a chance on me and said yes, it was like, trust me with their physique. It's like me trusting myself with my physique. I'm going to act as if your physique is my physique and what I would do. So obviously you don't know the answer. You know what I mean? But the better I kept getting in even my own craft as a bodybuilder standpoint, the better that I would get at managing my clients and their results. The results kept building. And then I'm like, these are some undeniable results. And when I realized I was like, why am I struggling to go get groceries and stuff like that too? I can't be in the same price point anymore. You know what I mean? I got to go up. And it's because it was just like the results, they speak for itself. And there are people out there who are willing to invest. And that's ranges between having 100 clients, between having 50 high ticket clients. There's a fine difference because the high ticket ones are going to take it a lot more seriously than the pool of 100 if I don't double this. So therefore the results hit even harder. You know what I mean? Because I'm working with people who are actually dedicated.
So, how do you handle, 50 to 100 clients? That's got to be 50 check-ins every Monday or whatever,
Yeah,
however you structure it out.
my cap, like I remember I had 89 clients at one point and I was so burnt out and tried hiring assistants and stuff like that too. And
Like virtual assistants from like the
no,
Philippines.
like I said, I'm very personal, so no. These were actually assistants that were in my coaching at one point and just excelled. You know what I mean? I was like, I would rather like have a client of mine give them the opportunity to make a side income, and I will also like they know this program better than most, and they know it by heart because I practice what I preach, and they have to. You know, so but then I realized I was like, the people who come to me, they're paying to talk to me, not them. You know what I mean? And that's where I got the wrong, mindset in a little bit. And that's why I had to range it down to just, below 50 in my cap. But you try doing like 89 loom videos by Sunday and you start Saturday morning, dude, I would not leave my computer. And everything at that point just seemed like a numbers because it's all an equation, the way you have to calculate macros and stuff like that and revise and just go where everyone's plan, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. That was by far the most stressful point in time during my career as a coach. But therefore my value, my service, it's something that I can confidently say is it's It's great, and therefore, in order for me to be 100% of my service, I can give everyone my time, you know? So therefore, I just have to lower the number a little bit to make sure everyone's getting that 100% service out of it. So yeah.
Yeah. Has AI been implemented in your business at all? And does it help you run your coaching business now?
So therefore, the guy who created my app, his name's Jackson Jen. He's on Forbes 30 under 30, and he gave me an app. It's also called Superband. So therefore, with this app, it's really cool because it saves me a lot of time convenience. So my coaching isn't necessarily AI, it's just the tools and resources that's implemented. So what I mean by this is that when my client signs onto the app, they have the option of when they click their meal plan, it's obviously me customizing their macros, but the best part is that they can use a macro AI calculator if they go out to eat. Very consumer friendly. They can scan a barcode even and AI will be there. No other coach has this. That's why I set myself apart a little bit. But even when I do the check-ins, it's super cool because knowing that they have habits to complete, AI will give me a summary of their weight loss, if they're up or down from like the past 6 weeks. It will give me analysis of their workouts, if they're completing it or not. And it will give me also analysis of their cardio routine. You know what I mean? Because it's embedded into the Apple Watch, which is like super cool. So the resources help me learn the client more. But it's something like my training programs, I've customized everything myself. Macros have to be completely customized to the client, or else they're not going to see results.
Hold on. Let's say someone is watching right now and they haven't reached that level of success where maybe you have, and they're not necessarily failing, but they don't see that success yet.
Mm-hmm.
What got you to that next level?
I kept going. At one point, you will. And that's perseverance, It's walking by faith, not by sight. And knowing that if you are 100% putting in the work every single day, being consistent, my motto is you would never beat the guy that's always showing up. And at that point, you keep getting better and you have to really invest in your own systems. Your systems is everything. Systems don't lie. And that's how I do bodybuilding. That's how I won my overalls. Habits and routines are basically systems. If you have a system for your health, it will show. Do you take care of your health or do you not? And when you comply that with business, systems do not lie, So from an individual standpoint, if they're a coach just starting off, struggling, invest in your systems first. Invest in your circle as well. Very important.
Yeah. Super simple quote. It's the only way you fail is if you quit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all you got to do is, like you said, just keep showing up every day. And at the end of the day, something will snowball into something and you'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's really cool because very similarly in my business, the only way for my business to go under, obviously because I don't have a ton of employees or whatever that are working with me, the only way for it to go under is if I literally stop believing in myself for it and I just don't show up that next day.
Yeah.
Continue to not show up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way that my business will fail.
Yeah, it's a domino effect.
And there's great opportunity in that because the opposite is true.
Yep.
The only way for it to be successful is if I keep showing up.
That part. Yep. And yeah, that's the thing. It was just like, you could be a one-hit wonder or you could be established. There's a clear difference. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You got to be consistent. Just like Kobe Bryant, you got to be excellent across all boards, not just one.
It's very important to learn from your failures because it's a lot of times if we keep failing at the same exact thing, there's clearly a problem there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can learn from it, you can adjust and then you could finally get over that roadblock and move forward.
Yes.
Could you tell me about a time where maybe there was that roadblock in your business or in your life where you maybe kept failing or kept hitting that wall and then you finally were able to persevere?
Right. I would definitely say it really comes down to leads. It comes down to content creation. If you're not posting, you're not relevant. You're not popping up on anyone's page. There have been times where I've decided to take, breaks just for my mental health, you know what I mean? Just to get my actual life back in order. But therefore it was like, even if I have recurring revenue, some clients leave, you know what I mean? And it came to a point where it's like, I had a lot of clients leaving at one point and I wasn't posting. So I had no leads coming in. That's why I feel like being a coach and having your own business, it's really on you. You are the sauce, believe it or not. And that's what I had to overcome is that I have to keep creating content that's different. And I have to keep creating content that's inspirational, not only to you, but to me. so I can keep doing that. And that's what I mean by systems. You got ChatGPT now. Like, how could you not? This is all bread and butter, but therefore you have to still be relevant.
Yeah. Give some people the sauce, man. What's the secret sauce that's working for social media? How many times a day do they need to post, or how many times
Yeah.
a week?
It was like, so the time I was blowing up, like getting a million views and stuff like that, it's really not like that right now, but I niched down, that's why. Um, when you're getting the millions of views, literally, if you want to start out creating content, post between 10 to 12, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. You need to be posting basically 5 times a week, minimum. You need to post actually like actual posts a week. So what I mean by that is 5 reels. You need to post 5 reels a week, 2 posts a week, 1 day a break, but you need to do a call to action. A call to action can be simple by posting your Insta story. It could be a questionnaire. It can be a poll. You need to have engaging audience. That's how you're going all in. If you want to monetize, follow that formula. Use hashtags, use keywords in your captions, use those 3-second hooks to your advantage. Literally look from other people's accounts and see what you can do better and literally apply that. With the help of ChatGPT, it writes the scripts for you. I kid you not. It helps you write the hooks as well, and you having a general idea on how to put it into your own terms and your own words. How could you not succeed? It's giving you everything. If you wanted it, you do it.
Yeah. I like that. Now, when you started implementing that strategy, you had mentioned some million viewed videos. Well, what was your first video that popped off for you? Was it the Sam Sulik one, or which one was it?
No, it was just no, it was like the things I wish I started sooner. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was just me because I applied that. What would I tell my little brother if he wanted to start off in fitness? I feel like that's the best part about having a big brother is that the big brother does everything to fail. If I could just teach someone not to fail as much as I did and do the right things, they'll get the results a lot faster. That's literally me, you know? From a personal standpoint, like in life, but when I created that big brother and little brother mindset, it allowed me to basically just tell my audience what I thought they knew they didn't, you know, like they should be in a caloric deficit. They should be training this times a week. And it was just like, really, it was like, I knew this by heart, but they didn't. That's why I feel like sometimes you're holding on to a lot of information you're not even putting out, and somebody could use that. So that was like the first videos that really popped off for me. And then after that, I got into celebrity workouts. So I would do like workouts like Jonathan Majors. I would do workouts like Michael B. Jordan, their ab workout. Um, let's say, for instance, like Captain America at one point, Flucy Tube, you know what I mean? That one was the highest at 16.8 million views. That one was insane, but I didn't put one call to action, so I had no leads.
And how many millions viewed it, but no leads?
Yeah, it was 16.8 million views,
That's
0 leads.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because everyone was just viewing it.
That's how important the call to action is.
Exactly. But it was like with my a call to act. Wait, what did you say?
I said that's how important the call to action is.
Yeah.
16 million views and 0 leads from that video.
Yes. But it was crazy because then when I recorded my parents' transformation, I didn't realize that was my first evergreen video. I put out something that only generated 31K views. But therefore, if you want to get into coaching, look at my parents' transformation. No other coach is doing that. The best part, I got so many leads from that one video alone. Like,
it hits home for them.
Those leads hit me for like 3 to 4 months. Like, it was insane. They're still hitting. If you want to look at my link, cool. If you want to look at my clients' results, they're on the link. But then you can look at my profile, and it can be my parents, for an example. It can be the other people I did as well that I've just recently penned. And it's just like the videos are there. It's like, did you document it? And I feel like that's very vital because you target the right people. It doesn't matter about the number. You don't need the biggest platform. I know coaches who literally have less than 10K followers and make more than I do. It's insane. Insane.
Now, leads are good, but let's say 10 people sign up for your coaching. How many of them actually follow through and stick with it? Like, let's say they sign up for more information, but they don't pay yet.
When you say sign up for more information, it's like you get on the call, you say yes, but you don't pay?
No, you get on the call, you get more information, but then they're hesitant to pay, then maybe they ghost you from there.
Yeah.
It just like purely leads to conversion is my question.
80% end up doing it, 20% don't.
Really?
Yeah, I have a very good close rate.
That's a really good one.
it's just because it was like they know what they're getting themselves into, you know? Um, I was on a call with a guy right now, and we were talking about leads, and he was like, "You're a celebrity trainer, you know that, right?" I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that." You know what I mean? And I was like, "It's Kane Brown, of course, you know?" But this is like I can start establishing myself like that. I don't want to, but therefore it was just like, for some people, they know what they want to get themselves into. They know the results from it and they really want to be invested. And you're not just joining a coach, you're joining a family that is literally in the group chat, talking with one another every single day, every single week, getting on those Q&A calls, Zoom calls and stuff. And we're establishing the standard. That is the standard, is that you are not alone. I love that. And it's just a blessing to create a business where you are creating a culture that not only emphasizes you, but my clients can walk around and be a reflection of me. I love that.
Transitioning back to the actual business of coaching, when you were a waiter compared to a coach, I want to talk about the money aspect. If you're okay with telling us, how much money did you make as a waiter, like monthly revenue?
Dude, I was making probably 300 a week,
So what's that?
300, 400. I wasn't even serving full time.
That's like 1,200, 1,500 a month.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, and I'm sure you remember your first, 10, 20, whatever, XK amount
Yeah.
a month. How
Yeah.
much freedom does that give you to be able to do whatever you want?
When I hit that number, my mind completely changed. Not just about money, but just about perspective. And I realized it was like it's a blessing to have freedom. I am in that financial freedom to realize that I can spend my days how I would like to. And I can spend my days continuing to inspire the next person. I can continue every day like just enjoying what I like and what I love to do and still inspiring the person next to me. And that's awesome. Like the coach doesn't leave, you know what I mean? But I can't do what I'm doing now, working at 9 to 5, So it leads me to be able to create more, It leads me to think and put your mental health first, not always wake up in a rush, have structure, just like a prep. It was like cool. It was like, I'm blessed to be able to wake up at 12, but that's not who I am. I'm always looking to just be the better version of myself. And there are times where it's like I have to go into prep to discipline myself a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
Take me through that day-to-day routine.
so being in prep right now, I would basically wake up 6 a.m. Slow starts in the morning. I'll obviously take my vitamins, supplements, and I would just sit there for an hour, mindfulness, coffee, Bible. I would read my Bible, and I will also pray. That's basically the first hour and a half. I don't rush my mornings at all. I'm out the house by 8 a.m. Usually I may be training my pastor around this time, and that may take up an hour. And then by 9 a.m., I'm doing my fasted cardio.
Pastor Jim?
Yeah, Pastor Jim. Yep, yep.
Oh, boy.
So fit by 50. That's what we're doing. So then it was like by the time I get home, it's usually about 10:30. After that fasted cardio and abs, eat my first meal, know what I'm about to do for the day. I start creating my content. I basically create the day of. The clips are already there from my workout prior to yesterday. But then the actual voiceover, the actual execution to put that out is done between I would say 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock, if not 2 o'clock. I would get on Zoom calls for, leads and stuff like that. I would do check-ins. That lasts me till about 4 or 5 o'clock. I'm at the gym again. I'm there for about an hour and a half, not only working out, but also getting content. And then I'm back home by 8. And usually last two meals, shower, sleep, and bed by 10:30. Start over.
It's a long day.
I couldn't think of this. I couldn't think of a better way to spend my day. Honestly.
But as long as you get to do what you love.
Yeah.
How many weeks in of the prep are you now?
So I challenged myself. The reason the 90-day program got invented was because I called my coach on day 90. We went to work on day 89. So that was basically giving my clients, like that was the 90-day program. That's how it was invented because I got my first overall in Class 2 physique. How could you drop 40 pounds in 12 weeks and come out with an overall in bodybuilding? It was like, that was like, wow, It was a plan that was that structured to the point where it's like, if I could just fix this up a little bit and also give this, it's not the exact plan at all. But then it was like, I know the guidance to get there, you know? That's how the 90-day program was invented. And then this one's going to be the 75-day program because I went to my coach at 9 weeks out. So this is a challenge for myself to see if I can win it overall or not. And 75 days to tell you that if you really locked in, you can look really good in 75 days and won't even take you 3 months.
Now, how many more weeks until prep gets hard for you? When does that like mental shift really come in?
Probably tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I talked about this earlier today. And between the 4 weeks to 6 week or 6 weeks out to 4 weeks out mark, that's like you're running the track and you're about to go on the turnaround. And that 200 meters when all the wind's pulling on you. And, you know, you got a lot of people throwing stuff at you, you know, curveballs in life and stuff. And it was just like, oh, I didn't expect this to happen. And it was just like you're going over where motivation leaves and discipline just has to be like necessary. You just have to get up, put your shoes on and go because you're going to start doubting yourself. And this is where it hits. So when it comes to the meal plans and stuff like that too, exactly that. And that's the duration of the hardest point. But if you can get past that curve, if you can get past the wind that's brushing in your face, the 4 weeks you're coasting. Because it was like, you're in that flow. Think about it. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, you ever felt like you got into the flow state?
100%. I actually just started running recently.
Yeah.
I was doing my first 5-mile run in 3 years. So 3 years ago, I did it one time, and I was like, dude, I'm never doing that again. That was awful.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I gotta do because
Yeah.
I start training for either a half or a full marathon. And I didn't say that publicly, and I don't really want to commit to it yet. But that's kind of just, I just wanted to be like, yo, I've done it 3 years ago. Why can't I do it right now? And I just got started running.
Yes.
And dude, I got into this flow and it was amazing. It was just, you're literally like floating.
You get starting podcasts again.
Yeah.
You're in that flow state.
100%.
And I was like, I feel like just when you prioritize your health a little bit, it makes you act a little different.
100%.
You start respecting yourself a lot more.
Yeah. Just doing the things that you said you're going to do.
Yes.
I think that's huge.
Huge. And it's a blessing.
Yeah.
Huge.
I think that's kind of one of my scariest things, one of my biggest insecurities. So like a lot of times I say things that maybe I know 100% are not true.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean I'm lying, but in my head I want them to be true, but for some reason I don't follow through with them.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something like this marathon.
Well,
that I'm talking about, you know, like I always say, like, yo, I'm gonna train for this marathon.
Yeah.
Bro, it's been like 4 years, or I've been saying like I'm gonna start cutting.
Right. You gotta talk.
Flies.
You gotta talk crazy a little bit though.
Yeah.
Because one of those sayings is gonna come true.
Goggins is in town.
Yeah, I saw him running in the metros the other day, and I'm like, what am I
I'm gonna
on?
leave town, and then I'll start talking crazy. It's his city right now.
That is insane.
Yeah.
I think I might go to the metros tomorrow.
Yeah, he'll be running around somewhere in Cleveland.
That isn't the mean insane. I love that. I love that. Yes, because
He's got to wake up.
He told someone the other day, and he was like, "How do you find motivation?" And he was like, "You see everything that you see on media." And he was like, "They're telling you motivation. You can't rely on someone telling you anything." He was like, "I'm showing you." He was like, "I'm drenched when no one's watching. It's just him and God. That's it." And I was like, wow.
Yeah, and I don't want to compare myself to Goggins, but when I was running that 5-miler, I was drenched.
Hell, that part. Yeah. That's a great comparison.
Yeah. Well, wrapping up the pod here, tell the people what's next. What can we expect other than maybe a pro card or maybe, you know,
Yeah.
what else is going on that you want to tell?
Coming from a time where I thought I had to do absolutely everything alone, I realized that I wasn't alone the entire time and that Jesus was in my corner. So everything that I'm doing, everything that I've done, is just being used for his glory, and that you are enough for anything that you put your mind to, and that you are capable of everything that you were set out to do as well. I believe that in this next chapter of my life, it's a lot of blessings to come, a lot of an abundance. Scripture, God created the bad days as he did the good, and you always have to persevere because there is always the joy that is to come. And I always had that. It was like, there may be some of the worst days you may have to go through, but the joy that's to come. As long as you, sometimes as a man, it was like the hardest thing is get out of bed, you know? But then it was just like, you got to pick up your mat and walk sometimes. You got your own cross to carry a little bit, you know? And then usually in that walk is where I learned the most, especially getting a house, living alone in the middle of nowhere. No one's coming to save you. No one cares. You know, you really have to build that type of respect and mindfulness for yourself and just get up, and just keep getting up over and over. So, yes, that's really all I got to say. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because I know that who's ever watching, the right ears are listening. And I just love helping people. I love changing lives. And I'm going to continue changing lives. It's not really about me anymore. So,
It's respect. You gotta feel the lows to enjoy the highs.
yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Well, anyways, guys, we're gonna wrap up this video here. Thanks, Coach Daylen now on Instagram, for sitting us down and going.
Love this. Yes.
Peace.
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks.